welcome back to Bourbon Barrel Talk. We're on the 12 Days of Old Foe. I'm your host, Scott. Today we're sitting down with Josh and Tyler, and we are on day 6 of the 12 Days of Old Foe, and we are drinking my favorite of the series.
Don't take away my love here.
All right,
on the 6th day of Old Foe, Whiskey Row gave to me 1910 Old Fine Whiskey, reigning in at 93 proof. It's our third day in the Whiskey Row series. And this one, I believe, is one of the best. And I'll probably talk about it a little more, but this bottle right here is what got me into Old Forester a little over 2 years ago when it first got released. And I just drank the hell out of this thing, and then it's just slowly evolved for me. So, Tyler, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. And yeah, man, I love that this is kind of what introduced you to Old Forester, and I will tell I didn't know that, being an Old Foe fanboy, but I will tell you, it's introduced a lot of people to Old Forester. This is the one in the last 2 years that really caught the world on fire, and alongside, having Jackie and our ambassadors and those folks in the field and having a home place to tell our story, this one put us on the map as well. We made what we thought would be a year's supply or so and released it October of 2018. I think we were out by February of 2019.
I'd like to take a little bit of the responsibility for that.
I'm sure it was half you, yeah.
A number of these bottles ended up in my bourbon bunker just stocked away because, fear of missing out.
So, yeah, it was one of those weird deals, man. Like, it catches the world on fire, and then we're out for 9 months while more matured in its second barrel, because this is the Old Forester double oaked expression. And just a great story that falls in line once again with our history here on Whiskey Row. It is called 1910 Old Fine Whiskey because in 1910, a lot of people may or may not know that this building was our original office from 1881 until 1919. And, George and them were finding huge success, but 1910 comes along, the building catches fire. And the bourbon that we were about to bottle up, we had to find something to do with it. So they ran out, got some more barrels, put that stock back into barrel for over 2 years while they made all the repairs until we could get back into the building. Finally, they come around and they dump it, and it's something totally unique. It's not the Old Forester that they've been making since 1870. But Owsley, who was in charge by that point, he decides, let's make something special. They just did the one batch the one time. They decided to bottle it up, and they called it 1910 Very Fine Old Whiskey. And they just did the one batch the one time, but in essence, that was the first ever double oaked bourbon. So you might say another first for Old Forester in the bourbon industry. And, double oaked went away for the next 99 years or so until it was reintroduced again. Just by Woodford, by our sister brand. But, just a great story that very much hits home for us right here on Whiskey Row.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I love this bottle so much. And the funny thing is, I didn't realize originally it was double oaked until, I guess it was probably, about a year ago. We'd had a discussion about it, and somebody had brought it up, and I was like, "You're kidding me, right?" And they're like, "No, that's what makes this a different, variety." And then Josh brought it up again just a few weeks ago. He was talking, and he goes, "Man, we've been drinking, double oak or toasted barrels for forever. What's up with that?" And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, it's one of those funny things because
it just became really popular for people to want finished whiskey of late. The toasted barrel, the different chars, the double oaked. It's just become popular, but it's really been out there for a while.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the funny thing is I think the glamour kind of came from not necessarily as much your all sister brand, but another brand that's just right down the street from Old Forester kind of made that toasted series really popular. But it's one of those.
Bourbon, by the way.
It's one of those things that it's just really, really unique that just putting something in and from my understanding, now when they're toasting this, like they're not putting it in for 2 years like they did in 1910. I mean, you're talking sometimes just days, whether it be 12, 20, 25 days, things like that. So it's a really, really quick process in that double oaked barrel to really give those nice notes. And like when I get in this, it's like marshmallow, and you get some nice like toasted flavors, and it's just, and then like you said, just that nose right off the top. It's like a caramel apple, So
This bottle or this whiskey has a beautiful nose to it. Of all the Whiskey Row series bottles, there are the 4 of them. This one is the most fragrant to me. And, it's got a really strong caramel smell to it. But, we're a month and a half here past Halloween. And to me, what I'm getting out of this is you take those real sugar-packed pumpkins or candy corn, the candy corn pumpkins, and that's what this reminds me of. It's just a sugar-packed, beautiful flavor to it.
And that's really just kind of like marshmallow in the general distinction. It just hasn't been cooked quite as much.
I always burn my marshmallow, so I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you might get a little of that char on the back end then. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
This thing has a beautiful taste, though. What I was describing is the caramel corn, the pumpkins. You get that in the taste, too. It's full of sugar, and I'm sure that's the finished whiskey, going through that second oak barrel, but it's a beautiful whiskey.
I wonder if we could, somehow talk somebody into doing a barrel strength of this.
I bet we can, and I bet we will. Tyler, you know anybody that handles a barrel procurement program?
I'll pass the word along. That is
That
a
would
good
be a
question.
totally different label.
That is a good question for listeners at home, though. Is there are fans out there. They want a single barrel proof 1870 or a single barrel proof 1910. Fact is that doesn't really exist because these are batchings of 100 or less barrels. So you could do a batch proof. You could theoretically batch them all together into what you were going to take down to 93 proof and do a higher proof version of 1910. But
So how do we do that?
as a single barrel, they don't really exist. It's the marriage of 100 barrels or less that comes together to make these. And I do like that, Josh. We kind of introduced you to the 100 proof signature. And that's all this is, guys. This is Old Forester Signature 100 that goes into a brand new second charred oak barrel for 8 to 9 months in this case. Scott's right. Sometimes it's, depending on the expression that you're making and who's distilling it, it's 2 months, it's 4 months, whatever. We do about 8 to 9 months on this one, and it's Signature 100 that's been double oaked.
Well, I think the fact that you all are aging it that much, but you're watering it down that much,
come on, man. It's proofing it down.
Proofing it down. My bad. Proofing. I should speak better. I am on a bourbon podcast. I should figure out the word proof down. But anyway, the fact that it is proofed down so much, I think helps that difference whenever you guys are putting that much of a quality toast onto it. That it's able to bring down, and you really are able to grab those flavors. But the caramel and the marshmallow, and I love this pour.
It's obvious that when Old Forester was designing this 1910, you really found the sweet spot of the proof that makes this what it is today. I mean, you're not gonna. If this was at 120 proof, it would be a completely different whiskey. It wouldn't be what is this old fine whiskey here that is just a beautiful expression.
No, you're exactly right. And sweet spot is the key term because this is not an oak bomb. We've been talking about apples and marshmallows and caramels and everything. And that is what you're getting out of that second barrel. Even though you char that second barrel to within an inch of its life, wood is made of sugar. That's what we're doing. So you go in at 100 proof into that second barrel, which means there's already more water in there to more easily dissolve all the sugars that are in that second barrel. So they quickly dissolve and suck out those beautifully charred and caramelized sugars from that second barrel. And then you don't want an oak bomb or a char bomb, so you take it down to 93 proof and let all those beautiful sugars from that second barrel kind of manifest, and just makes for a beautiful expression.
It is beautiful. And I was telling you guys off the air today before we poured this one that a couple months ago while sitting on the beach, I drank through a whole fifth of this, and I may be just burnt out on it. I don't know if my palate has changed over the last 2 months of drinking hot shit or what, but this, my palate's not telling me it's anything like what I was drinking while I was sitting on the beach with salt water in my face and sand and everything else. But damn, this is an awesome whiskey. now I know why I started drinking Old Forester daily 2 years ago, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, every time I pull a bottle of this out, I'm just like, man. And the thing is, like, I always go back to like, man, what did this taste like before they proofed it down? Like, because I'm a single barrel snob. You know, I love, you know, the aspect of getting the hotter stuff, and that's been one of those things. I'm always like, can somebody just let me go? Like when they're bottling it, and just a little that's just left out of the back, can I just stuff it into a little, you know, decanter or some sort and just try it and take it home? Because, man, oh man, I love this pour. It is my absolute favorite of the Old Foresters. I could drink it every day. It could be a desert island whiskey for me, I'll be honest with you.
Desert island whiskey, man. Well, I got enough in the bourbon bunker that if we have to do that, we'll be okay. But this is just, it's a very complex whiskey, beautiful aroma to it, beautiful finish, beautiful flavor. And I'm probably overusing the word beautiful, but I love it. It's a great whiskey. So, and just, I know we're on our third day here, I think, and tomorrow is going to be our last day of the Whiskey Row series. But if you have bought all 4 of these, they are beautiful to just sit and try side by side. And you don't have to drink, you know, a whole glass of them, as I would probably do anyway, but you pour yourself a little bit of them, try them neat, try them with a little bit of water in it, maybe put a block of ice in there if you want, and just explore the variation in these, the variety in them, because it's out there.
Absolutely. Side by side in these it's going to really enlighten your palate, and it's going to give you the opportunity to really, really dive into bourbon and the different flavors you get from them, because all 4 of the expressions are very different. Even though they're the exact same mash bill, the exact same yeast strand, you get so much variety out of these, and that just, you know, gives you just how many accolades we have to give to the people that took the time to blend these and batch these out, that they just did a fantastic job when making these expressions.
So tomorrow will be a hot proof whore for you, because we're going to go to the 1920, which is 115 proof. And I want to say one of the hottest, or the hottest, of Whiskey Row. So today, on the 6th day of Old Foe, Whiskey Row gave to me my very first love of Old Foe, the 1910 Old Fine Whiskey. It's got a blue tack strip on it if you're looking for it in the liquor store.
93 proof.
93 proof, 1910 on the front. Buy it. You'll love it.
Absolutely. So if you want to find us at Bourbon Barrel Talk, you can find us all the social media outlets. You're going to want to hit the subscribe button whenever you're listening to these episodes. That way you get them automatically, especially over the next, few days, because there's a lot of episodes coming out. You're going to want to make sure they get downloaded and pick those up quickly. Scott, Josh, Tyler signing off. Peace out.
Cheers.
Fanboy out.